Hey, thank you so much for joining me here today. I'm so excited to be here with you guys. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Jennifer Kent, and I am the founder of the Guava Project, a place where I help women in engineering who are looking to transition out of that field to conceptualize, plan, and launch their service-based business so that they can have the freedom that they crave and make the impact in this world that they know they can make. So once again, thank you so much for joining me here today. I am so excited to be talking to you today about some tips on how to balance your 9-to-5 job while you are trying to build your business, your side hustle, okay? I know that when I was in my engineering job, I went to school for chemical engineering, and I was in the engineering field for about 10 years. And once I started to create my side hustle, my side business, I struggled. I struggled a lot with trying to manage, the energy and the time that it took to actually get things started and get those creative juices going. So I wanted to give you a few tips on how to do that effectively so that you can take the shortcut and you don't have to struggle as much as I did. So first and foremost, I would say the first tip on balancing your 9-to-5 with your side hustle is to set the intention for your side hustle. So get very clear as to what the intention is for that business that you're creating, whether you've already created that business or you're in the process of doing that. So set the intention for your side hustle. It's important that get clear on that aspect, because depending on that, it will make a difference on how you plan beyond that concept of what your side hustle is going to be. So, get clear. Is this side hustle something that you're doing because you want to do something fun? So maybe you are bored at work, or you just need a place to engage your creativity and let your creative juices just run wild. You're done with your job at 6 o'clock and you just come home and you want to do something just for fun. It's a hobby. It's a little side project, and you're just really doing it for fun. For instance, when I was in engineering, I, of all things, started to sell Mary Kay because I just wanted to go to friends' houses and put makeup on. And I was just doing that for fun. I wasn't really planning on getting rich on Mary Kay. But it was a creative outlet for me at the time. So is it for fun, or are you doing it just to get a little bit of extra cash? So maybe you're creating this side hustle because you want to have a little extra income in order to go get a massage once in a while, or take a trip once we're allowed to travel in this crazy world. Or maybe you do some improvements to your home and you just want a little extra income to be able to take care of all those projects. Or, and this is the segment of people that I tend to work with the most, are you creating this side hustle? Is the intention of your side hustle for you to transition into that business eventually? So you're in your 9-to-5 and you're creating something on the side with the intention of eventually moving into that business full time. Okay, so how is this side hustle going to support you and your life goals? Get very, very, very clear. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to create a vision for what it is that you're working towards. Okay, so what does success look like to you? What does that mean to you? Because it means something completely different to everyone. And how will you know that you have achieved it, right? So for some people, success looks like more time. For some people, it looks like more cash in their bank account. For some people, it means creating more impact and having a bigger audience, right? More ears and eyeballs on their content. So that is success. So what does that look like to you? And what does it mean? Like, how are you going to know that you got there? Okay. So for instance, for me specifically, I know that in the short term, success looks like having worked with 10 women in engineering who are in the process of conceptualizing, planning, and launching their business. So when I wrap up that last call with my 10th engineering woman, and we have gone through that whole process, to me, that is my short-term success, okay? And that's my plan for 2021, by the way, so I'm super excited about it. And long term, it looks like me and Jay, my husband, sitting in Tahiti at a beach, drinking some fresh coconut water, which is one of my favorite things ever to do. So that's what my vision is for what I'm working towards. And the reason this is important is because the more clear you are in terms of what your intentions are and what that vision is, the easier it will be for you to go get through those really rough days. You know, you had a really difficult day in your 9-to-5 job, and you still have to come home and deal with that website that's giving you a hard time, or getting on that coaching call, or whatever it is that you're doing in terms of your side hustle. So getting clear on what that is and keeping that close to your heart will help you as you are moving forward and going through those, grinding days, those hamster wheel days where you're like week in, week out, you're struggling, and you need something to grab onto, okay? Then the tip number 3 is to stop multitasking. Please, 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 if you take anything away from today, is to please stop multitasking. And I'm very passionate about this, so much so, and I see you there, Bridget. So much so that I actually did an Ignite Charlotte talk on this very topic. I called it, "Are You Done Half-Tasking?" Because we are delusional into thinking and believing that we can give 100% of our attention and create very high quality output if we while multitasking, right? While focusing on multiple things at the same time. And that's just not true. It doesn't happen. You're not special. And it's not you, it's me. Yes, no more multitasking. Yes. No more multitasking. I agree with you, Bridget. So take that message home with you. And I won't go into all the details about, why the science behind multitasking and all the productivity tips and techniques available. But you're more than welcome to reach out and find and look for the "Are You Done Half-Tasking" talk that I did at Ignite Charlotte back in August. It's packed with tons of information there. And it will help you realize that it is so important to laser focus on one task at a time. And you will see your productivity and the quality of your work just skyrocket right away as you start implementing those techniques. One of them is using the Pomodoro technique, which is super easy to implement. You can look it up, you can Google it. You can use it anywhere, and it really helps you get laser focused and get more done. Okay, so stop multitasking. So now that you have checked the box and promised me that you're going to stop multitasking, I want you to take, and this is tip number 4, I want you to take 2 weeks to just take inventory of how you're spending your time. And this is so important because sometimes we're running, wild, thinking that we're doing so much, we're doing all this busy work, and we feel exhausted and drained at the end of the week, but we're not actually being very productive. So I want you to just objectively take a look at how you're spending your time, and just take 2 weeks to take inventory every single day. From the time that you get up until the time you go to bed, just take a little journal and journal out, like what you're doing every single hour of the day, and take inventory so that you can become very aware of how you're actually investing your time. Okay. And then once you've done that, then you can see if it's in alignment with that intention that I told you to set at the beginning on tip number 1, and that vision that you have created for yourself and your goals and your future. And see if you're off alignment, then it's time for you to do a little reality check and see, how important is this to me? And how am I going to be moving forward? So create that inventory and become very aware of how you're investing your time. And then after you do that, then I want you to batch your tasks. So, going along with the more multitasking thread, once you're clear on what you're wanting to do, then I want you to sit down on Sundays. This is what I used to do when I was working my 9 to 5 and building my business at the same time. Sit down on Sunday nights, Sunday afternoon, whenever you have the time, and really map out how you're going to invest your time in the mornings before you go to work, during your lunch hours, and in the afternoons after you get home from work, and of course the weekends as well. Now, I'm not saying pack every single minute of free time with tasks to do, because that would be the fastest way to burn out, right? But do have an overall plan so that when you start your week, you already know, okay, Monday lunch hour, this is what I'm going to do. Or Tuesday after work, this is what I'm going to do. And what I want you to do is batch your tasks into similar types of tasks. So for instance, for me, let's say that Mondays was my content creation day. I would then sit down on Mondays and during my lunch hour, I knew that I was going to be focusing on just thinking about all the topics of the content that I was going to be producing for the next 6 weeks or something like that, depending on what works better for you. And then the next lunch hour, I knew that I would be focusing solely on outlining those 10 different topics. And that way I wasn't switching back and forth between letting myself be creative, let's say when I was trying to come up with the topics, versus going into like research mode, you know what I mean? Like going on Google or reading up in a book or something like that to put the information that I needed for those topics. So make sure that you're batching your tasks and grouping them into similar types of tasks, so you're not wasting time and energy switching back and forth, because that can be very draining. And along that same line, I guess this would be a bonus tip, is, of course, your 9 to 5 job is probably the main source of income for you, and perhaps, or most likely, the source of your benefits, health insurance, or whatever that looks like for you. So you have to honor it and give it the respect that it deserves, right? And it is where you're going to be spending the majority of your time. So work around all of that, and of course around your personal lifestyle, and work your side hustle into that schedule. So what I mean by that is, if you know that typically in your work week, Tuesdays tend to be a really long day at work because you have a bunch of meetings and you have there's usually like a round table at the end of Tuesdays, and everybody leaves kind of late that day, then don't schedule such heavy tasks for your side hustle when you go home that day. Schedule something that is, repetitive, or something simple that you don't really have to think too much through, like invoicing or something along those lines, right? And on the other hand, if you know that I don't know, Thursdays tend to be a pretty light day at your 9 to 5 job, then maybe those days you can really hustle and grind out some work for your side hustle, and your lunch hour is going to be packed. Or maybe that's when you schedule your client calls for that day. The point is that you need to be able to look at that whole week and see when you're going to be scheduling those blocks of time, right? So whether it's client work, whether it's content work, education, marketing, whatever it is that you're focusing on that day, and you're going to be blocking it out in similar types of tasks. and also balancing it out with your 9 to 5. Now, here's the deal. You are going to have to make sacrifices, right? This is what you want to do. You are going to have to say no to your coworkers about going to lunch with them if you're working from an office right now, or maybe put down the remote at home and not watch that extra episode of whatever show you're watching on Netflix. So you are going to have to decide, again, going back to tip number 1 and number 2, what is your intention with your side hustle, and what is the big vision, right? Like, what are you working towards, and what does success look like to you? And if those things are actually very important to you, you will make the sacrifices without really breaking a sweat, because you know that it's something that is going to get you to where you want. So those are my 5 tips that I have for today. Wrapping it up, set your intention for your side business. Decide what kind of side hustle you're creating or you're investing your time into. Is it for fun? Is it for extra cash? Or is it something that you're looking to transition into? Create a vision of what you're working towards. So really give yourself the space and the time to embrace what it is that you're working towards. What does that look like? What does that feel like? And also, what does success mean like to you? So what does success mean to you? I can't talk. So how will you know that you've achieved it? Like I said, for me in 2021, it means I would have worked with 10 women in engineering, helping them conceptualize, plan, and launch their service-based business. So what does that look like to you? Get very clear and specific about that. Stop multitasking. And I really encourage you to take a look at that Ignite Charlotte talk that I did back in August, because I did give a lot of tips on that talk. Take inventory of how you're actually spending your time for 2 weeks. Now, granted, we're in the middle of holidays, so this may not be representative of how you would actually be spending your time. So just, be cognizant of that and aware of that. It's we're doing a little bit more cookie baking around this time of the year. But take 2 weeks to really take inventory and get real with yourself as to how it is that you're actually investing your time right now. And after you've done that, then create a schedule where you're batching your tasks and grouping them by similar types of work, so that you're not spending a lot of time and energy and draining yourself switching between task and task. And also schedule your chunks of work, your blocks of work, into times during the week where things are going to work out with your 9 to 5, right? So honor your 9 to 5 job. It is a source of stability right now, income, whatever goals you have in terms of your professional career. So honor that work, respect it for what it is, and work your side hustle around that. So really get specific about how you're using every morning before you go to work, how you're using every lunch hour, and how you're using every afternoon after you get home from work, and of course your weekends. Now, like I said before, I'm not saying that you need to schedule yourself busy every single morning, lunch, afternoons, or evenings or weekends, right? Definitely work into that time. Some me time, some fuel your tank type of activities, whether that means meditating, going for a hike, or having a conversation with your significant other. Whatever that means for you, make sure that you're scheduling that, or that you leave room for that, and allow for flexibility around those things. And that is what I have for you today. I hope that you guys enjoyed it and you got something out of it. I would love, love, love to hear from you. So don't be shy and reach out to me in my DMs. Tell me about what kind of things you want to hear more about. And I cannot wait to get a little bit, get to know you a little bit better. And until next time, thank you so much. I can't wait to hear from you. And I see you there, ladies, and I see you, Bridget. I can't wait to connect with you guys again. Have a good day. Bye.